connect with James Knightley, who is the Chief International Economist at ING. A very good morning and thank you so much for your time. James, firstly, what do you make of the US markets overall? This seems to be hitting a pause button. Yes, indeed, yesterday was a decent day for the US markets, but overall, for the past 1 week, when we see, then they are seen to be making a bit of a U-turn. What do you make of the US markets right now, and what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think the US story is really, really interesting. If we just think back a few weeks, the story was all about US exceptionalism, the US growth story continuing to dominate in terms of investment themes. You know, Donald Trump had just come in, the US economy was in good shape, and he was likely going to turbocharge the US growth story through tax cuts and regulatory changes as well. But of course, he's not done that. He's actually been implementing quite significant government austerity, which is very bad news for growth, and of course introduced tariffs, which could well put up prices and squeeze spending power of US consumers. And it's the US consumer that's been fueling US growth over recent years. So rather than actually boosting growth, his policies are actually acting as a bit of a headwind for the US economy right now. So I think the markets are sort of reevaluating the prospect for that US growth exceptionalism. And when you see the likes of China and Europe, as they did yesterday, introducing or talking about some really, really significant fiscal stimulus to hit their economies, then that does mean that actually the US isn't the only story in town, and we can actually look at other alternative investment destinations as well.
Okay. What does this setup mean for emerging markets per se? Emerging markets were down because dollar was up and money was moving into US market. Now that US markets are picking out, could money come back to emerging markets?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look at the relative performance in US equity markets have performed very badly this year. Europe has been the real star performer. And I think it is that recalibration that it isn't just the US that is the only growth story in town. In fact, the US economy there's a growing sense that it could be disappointing expectations this year. I mean, just look at the expectations for Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. 3 weeks ago, just 25 basis points of Federal Reserve cuts were priced for this year. We've now got 3 25 basis point rate cuts being priced as expectations grow that the Fed may well have to come in and offer more support. So I think there is the scope for a recalibration after what was, last year's exceptional US performance.
But also talk to us about what's next for the crude.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.